when you have this HTTPS protocol, the S standing for secure. And there are multiple considerations or multiple ways that you can use a certificate into a custom domain. For example, you can bring your own certification if you already have one, and we'll see a demo about that. You can buy those certificates, for example, to a registrar, or you can have some issued to you, or you can buy a certificate or build a certificate directly in Azure, and this is valid for certain services. This certificate could also be used and stored into Azure Key Vault. So you remember Azure Key Vault, we saw that for secrets, and I told you it's not just for secrets and connection strings, etc., but it can also be used for certificates, and this is here an example that you can have. Storing the certificate in Key Vault could be very interesting because it's going to make updating the certificate much easier, and this is really something you want to avoid. You don't want your certificate to expire. Those certificates have only a certain duration, a certain validity. You don't want them to expire because otherwise your traffic is going to be invalid, and of course this is very dangerous. You don't want this to happen. This has happened to many enterprises and many firms, so be careful about that. And so if you have the certificates in Key Vault, it's going to be much easier to update it in a central manner. So for the next demo, now that we have a custom domain, we are going to add a certificate on Azure App Service, and we'll see different ways to do that. For this demo, we go into the App Service portal here, and if we scroll down, you will see that under custom domains that we used before, we also have TLS SSL setting. So here I'm going to create a private key certificate. At this time we don't have anything, and for this demo I'm going to create the App Service certificate directly inside the portal because it's easy to do, and also it's included into the App Service price, so it's quite convenient to do that. But there are also other ways that you can import a certificate. For example, you can have a certificate centrally managed into Key Vault and import it from there. You can also upload a certificate that you buy externally. We'll do that later. Or you can also import a certificate, another App Service certificate that is already existing. So let's go and create the App Service Managed certificate. This is for tailwindtraders.xyz with a www in front, all right? Now we can create it, and it's going to take just a couple of seconds to be created, but note that it's not applied yet. It's just been created, but it's not terminating our custom domain yet. To do that, first of all, we need to go back into the custom domain dialog, and here you see that we have a link saying add binding, so this is what we will do now. Now in the Dropbox, we see our custom certificate that was just created. We are going to select SNI SSL. It's slightly different from IP-based SSL. In a nutshell, you could say that SNI SSL is allowing you for an unlimited number of domains. IP-based is limited to 10. Of course, there are other differences, but it's a little bit out of scope for this demo. So here I will just use SNI SSL all the time. So let's click on that, and then we can create the SSL binding. This is again going to take just a moment to configure. We see that it's secure now, and now I'm going to turn on HTTPS only. Like this, all the non-secure traffic is going to be automatically redirected to HTTPS. So I can test that. Let's go back into our website. All right, I'm going to enter HTTPS this time. It doesn't work yet because it takes a moment to propagate, but if I refresh after a few seconds, we should see that now the connection is secure, and in fact we can verify the validity of the certificate. So basically the public can do that as well, and can also dive a little bit deeper if they want. So that is working fine. But now, of course, you may wonder what's going to happen if I try to enter tailwindtraders.xyz and not www.tailwindtraders.xyz. And I'm going to show you now that you can also configure that, but it's just a little bit different. So how is it working? Let's go back into the App Service dialog, and again we are going to add a new custom domain, and this time this is an Apex domain, all right, without the www, without any subdomain. I'm going to validate that, And now we see that just like before, we don't have domain ownership yet. We didn't prove it. And the instructions are slightly different. The main difference here is that instead of using a CNAME record like before, we are going to use an A record. And the other difference is that now we have ASUID, App Service Unique ID,